Let me start this direction, Senator. The Senate Armed Services Committee. The other night I listened to President Donald Trump's speech of a new direction in Afghanistan. Let me ask you, after 16 years, thousands of young men and women have lost their life there. Billions of dollars have been spent, hundreds of billions. What about the President's direction now in Afghanistan and the Secretary of State, Tillerson and Mattis, Secretary of Defense? What about the direction now do you feel comfortable with, or do you support and think we can accomplish what we want, the outcome?
Well, first of all, in my career, I lived in Asia. Actually had an office and worked a lot in Lahore, Pakistan, on the eastern side of Pakistan. I've made a couple trips there since being in the Senate. I just got back from Afghanistan and Pakistan. What we've got going right now with this president is a regional solution and a long-term strategy. That's what we've been missing for 16 years. We went in there to deny radical Islamic jihadists from having a base from which they could do damage in the United States. If one thing we learned in 9/11 was that we cannot protect the United States just within the borders of the United States. We have to step out and deny these Islamic radical extremists havens where they can develop a capability to harm us here at home. We have not been focused on that mission over the last 16 years. And what these people are beginning to talk about now, General Mattis, even with John Kelly's help, as well as the President, we now are moving toward a regional solution that includes India, Pakistan, and Afghanistan, that deals with Pashtuns, that deals with the Kashmiri issue between India and Pakistan, it deals with the Haqqani network that gives support for the Taliban in Afghanistan. So it's a very complicated equation, and this is the first time I've seen an attempt to have a regional long-term solution to the objective that we have, and that is to simply deny Islamic extremists a base from which they can do harm in the United States.
So after 16 years of what we've been through in Afghanistan, you have actually see something that you think is in the right direction and has a plan. There's a plan in place that we've not seen yet that Mattis will implement?
We have never seen in 16 years the real strategy of how to win. Nobody defined what winning is. And I believe we're seeing now that the denial of a base operation and a capability to extremists to do harm in the United States, that's the mission. And today it's in Afghanistan, but we cannot in the United States, and this is one of the problems I have being on armed services, we can't sit back and on the disinvestment that we've seen in the last 8 years in our military and expect our military to be able to do everything that we needed to do in this very dangerous world. Look, the world, in my opinion, is more dangerous right now than any time in my lifetime. And I believe the military is at the weakest point it's been in my lifetime. And the reason is, in the last 8 years, just like in the 70s under Jimmy Carter, in the 90s under Bill Clinton, under Barack Obama, the government disinvested in the military. Today, we have the smallest army since World War II, the smallest Navy since World War I, and the oldest and smallest Air Force ever. And frankly, to recap it, to rebuild it, is going to take hundreds of billions of dollars that we don't have. Every dime we spend on our military today, every dime we spend on our veterans, and every dime we spend on domestic discretionary programs, building roads, healthcare, and all those things, is borrowed money.